Luna Thorne stood frozen in the corridor of the Intergalactic Security Force headquarters, watching her carefully organized stack of evidence files scatter across the polished metal floor like leaves in a windstorm. Digital tablets clattered, holographic chips rolled away, and paper reports, yes, some departments still used paper, fluttered through the recycled air. This was not how she'd envisioned her first day at ISF Nexus Station. "Officer Thorne, I presume?" The voice came from above her, deep and commanding with an edge that could cut durasteel. Luna looked up, and her breath caught in her throat. Commander Dante Cross stood over her, easily clearing 6 feet, with dark hair that defied the artificial gravity to fall perfectly into place. His uniform was immaculate, black with silver ISF insignia, pressed so sharply it could probably be used as a weapon. But it was his eyes that held her captive. Storm gray and currently fixed on her with an expression cold enough to freeze plasma. "Yes, sir. I'm so sorry, Commander." Luna dropped to her knees, her purple skin darkening with embarrassment as she scrambled to collect the scattered materials. "I was rushing these to Captain Vale before the morning briefing and didn't see you coming around the corner." Dante remained motionless, his jaw tight as he watched her fumble with the documents. He made no move to help, simply observed with those penetrating eyes that made Luna feel like she was being scanned by a threat assessment system and found wanting. "These are classified materials from the Chronos smuggling case," he said, his tone clipped and professional. "They should never be transported through public corridors in such a careless manner. What's your designation?" "Detective Luna Thorne, sir. I transferred today from the Outer Rim Patrol Division." She stood, clutching the now disorganized files to her chest, acutely aware that her first impression had been an absolute disaster. "This won't happen again. See that it doesn't. At ISF, we maintain certain standards of professionalism and competence. I suggest you familiarize yourself with proper security protocols before you create an actual breach." He adjusted his collar insignia, a gesture that seemed more dismissive than necessary. "Captain Vale is waiting." He walked past her without another word, his boots echoing down the corridor with military precision. Luna stood there, her purple cheeks burning with a mix of embarrassment and frustration. She'd been at this posting for exactly 2 hours and had already managed to humiliate herself in front of the most important person on the entire station. The rest of the day didn't improve. Luna spent 8 hours learning complex case management systems, memorizing jurisdiction protocols, and trying desperately to avoid any situation that might put her in Commander Cross's path again. Every time she saw his tall figure moving through headquarters, she found an excuse to turn in the opposite direction. By 1700 hours, Luna was mentally and emotionally exhausted. She gathered her personal items, said goodbye to Mira Chen, the friendly human officer who'd taken pity on her during lunch, and headed straight for Stellar Grounds, a cozy cafe 3 docks away from the main station. Mira arrived 10 minutes later, sliding into the booth across from Luna with 2 steaming cups of Centauri blend and a sympathetic smile. "So, how bad was it really?" Mira asked, her dark eyes twinkling with concern. Luna groaned, dropping her head into her hands. "Mira, I literally scattered classified evidence at the commander's feet like some kind of amateur. He looked at me like I was a contamination he'd stepped in." "Dante Cross has that effect on everyone," Mira said, stirring sweetener into her coffee. "The man is completely wound up tighter than a warp drive. I've worked here for 3 years, and I've never seen him smile. Not once. He's also the most arrogant person I've ever met," Luna said, her frustration finally finding an outlet. "The way he talked to me, like I was some incompetent cadet. I have a decorated service record and 5 years of investigative experience, but he made me feel like I didn't belong there." "Tell me about it." Mira leaned forward, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "But you have to admit, the man is gorgeous. It's completely unfair that someone so uptight can look like that." Luna felt heat creep up her purple neck, but she couldn't deny the truth. "Okay, yes, he's attractive. Objectively speaking. If you like the whole tall, dark, and intimidating thing." Which you absolutely do, Mira teased. Which I absolutely do not, Luna protested, but she was smiling now. Fine. He's hot. There, I said it. Commander Dante Cross is ridiculously, unfairly hot. But he's also cold, arrogant, and clearly has a superiority complex the size of a star cruiser. So what you're saying is he's exactly your type? Myra's grin was wicked. Luna threw a sugar packet at her friend. My type is not emotionally unavailable authority figures who make me feel incompetent. My type is someone warm, funny, and capable of basic human kindness. Well, you know what I mean. But imagine if someone could crack that ice, Mira said dreamily. I bet underneath all that control, there's a passionate man just waiting to break free. Then someone else can do the cracking, Luna said firmly, taking a long sip of her coffee. I need this job, which means I need to stay as far away from Commander Cross as humanly, or Zentari Ly, possible. I'm going to be professional, competent, and completely invisible. That's probably smart, Mira agreed. Though I have to say, it would be entertaining to watch. The commander has never shown interest in anyone at headquarters. You should see how many women and men have tried and failed. They continued talking, the conversation drifting to other topics. Luna told Mira about her cramped quarters on the residential deck, her plans to request a transfer to a planetside posting eventually, and her determination to prove herself despite the rocky start. Honestly, Luna admitted with a laugh, if Commander Cross asked me to work late, I'd probably say yes just to stare at him for a few extra hours. From a safe distance, of course. With a desk and possibly a force field between us. Mira nearly choked on her coffee. Luna Thorne, are you saying you'd do anything the commander asked? I'm saying he could ask me to reorganize the entire evidence vault using only my left hand, and I'd probably consider it purely because looking at that face makes me forget basic motor functions. Luna was giggling now, exhaustion turning into something like hysteria. But then he'd open his mouth and say something cold and dismissive, and I'd remember why I should hate him. The eternal struggle, Mira said sagely. Arrogant but hot. Exactly. Arrogant but so hot. They finished their drinks and gathered their things, still laughing. Luna felt better than she had all day. Tomorrow she would return to headquarters with her head high, determined to show Commander Cross that she was professional and capable, even if she'd gotten off to a rough start. Mira hugged her goodbye in the docking bay, and Luna headed toward her shuttle, her mind already planning how she would approach tomorrow. She would be early, organized, and flawless. She would make Commander Cross see that his first impression had been wrong. Luna was unlocking her shuttle door when she noticed something tucked under the external sensor panel, a piece of paper, folded neatly. Probably a maintenance notice or docking citation, though she was certain she'd paid her bay fees. She unfolded the paper and felt her heart stop. The handwriting was bold and masculine, written in black ink on what looked like a cafe receipt. Next time you want to discuss my arrogance, you might want to check who's sitting at the table behind you. I was at the corner booth. Heard every word. We should talk about this properly. Dinner tomorrow, 1900 hours. I'll pick you up at your quarters. Don't be late. Commander Dante Cross. Below the message was her residential deck address, which he must have pulled from her personnel file, and his personal contact number. Luna read the note 3 times, her hands shaking. He had been there. He had heard everything. Every single embarrassing, honest word she'd said about him. The arrogant comment. The hot comment. All of it. She looked up and scanned the docking bay, and her stomach dropped. There, leaning against a sleek black transport 3 spaces away, was Commander Dante Cross. He was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read, something between amusement and challenge. He pushed off from the transport and walked toward her with that same confident stride she'd seen in the headquarters corridor. Luna stood frozen, her mind racing through 1,000 different responses and finding none of them adequate. Commander Cross, she managed to say as he stopped in front of her. I didn't know you were there. I apologize if I said anything inappropriate. Don't apologize, he said, and for the first time that day, there was something other than cold professionalism in his voice. "I found your assessment quite interesting. Arrogant and hot. That's a new combination." Luna felt heat flood her purple face. "It was a private conversation. I was venting about a difficult first day." "Were you?" He stepped closer, and Luna caught the scent of his cologne, something expensive and understated. "Because it sounded pretty honest to me." "You think I'm arrogant?" "I think you were harsh with me today," Luna said, finding courage from somewhere. "I made a mistake, but I was trying my best." "And you think I'm hot," he continued, as if she hadn't spoken. There was the faintest hint of a smile playing at the corner of his mouth. "That was taken out of context," Luna said quickly. "Was it?" Dante tilted his head slightly, studying her. "With those storm-gray eyes." "Because it seemed pretty straightforward to me." "You find me physically attractive but emotionally frustrating." "Commander, this is inappropriate. You're my superior officer. Which is why we should have dinner and discuss appropriate workplace boundaries," he said smoothly. "Tomorrow, 1900 hours. I'll pick you up." "That's not a request, is it?" Luna asked. "No, Detective Thorne. It's not." He pulled out his communicator and glanced at the screen. "I have a briefing in 20 minutes. I'll see you tomorrow at headquarters, and then tomorrow evening at your quarters. Wear something nice." He walked back to his transport, leaving Luna standing in the docking bay, completely stunned. As he powered up the engines, he lowered the window. "And Luna? For what it's worth, I found your comments about the force field particularly amusing. You won't need it at dinner. I promise to be on my best behavior." Then he was gone, and Luna was left alone with a note in her hand and the absolute certainty that her life had just become infinitely more complicated. The next morning, Luna arrived at ISF headquarters 30 minutes early, her stomach twisted in knots. She'd barely slept, replaying the docking bay encounter over and over in her mind. Commander Dante Cross had heard her call him arrogant and hot, and instead of being angry or filing a complaint, he'd asked her to dinner. No, not asked. Ordered her to dinner. She settled at her desk in the detective division and tried to focus on the case files Captain Vale had assigned her. Every time footsteps echoed in the corridor, her heart jumped, expecting to see Dante's tall figure appear. But the morning passed without any sign of him, and Luna didn't know whether to feel relieved or disappointed. "You look nervous," Mira said, appearing at her desk with 2 cups of coffee. "Everything okay?" Luna glanced around to make sure no one was listening before leaning in close. "He was there last night. At the cafe." Commander Cross heard everything. Myra's eyes went wide. "No. Every single word. The arrogant comment, the hot comment, all of it." Luna's purple skin darkened with embarrassment. "And now he wants to have dinner with me tonight. He left me a note with my quarters address and his personal contact code." "That's actually kind of romantic," Mira said, though her expression showed concern. "But also really complicated. He's your commanding officer, Luna. Dating him could cause serious problems. Cross-species relationships are fine, but the chain of command, I know." Luna took a sip of coffee, trying to calm her nerves. "Maybe he just wants to talk about workplace professionalism or something." Mira gave her a look that said she didn't believe that for a second. The day continued with Luna managing to avoid any direct contact with Dante, though she felt his presence constantly. Twice she looked up from her work to find him standing in the doorway of the detective division, watching her. Each time their eyes met, something electric passed between them before he turned and walked away. Around 1500 hours, Officer Cade Rivers stopped by her desk. He was in his early 30s with sandy hair and an easy smile that probably worked on most people. "Hey, Luna, how's your second day going?" "Better than the first, I hope." "Much better, thank you," Luna said politely, continuing to type her report. "Listen, a few of us are going to 0G Bar after shift on Friday. Officer hangout, nothing fancy. You should come. Let me buy you a drink, help you get to know the team better. Cade leaned against her desk, clearly trying to be charming. Before Luna could respond, a voice cut through the air like ice. Rivers, don't you have patrol reports to file? Both Luna and Cade turned to see Dante standing a few feet away, his expression cold and his posture rigid. There was something dangerous in his eyes that made Luna's pulse quicken. Just being friendly to the new detective, Commander, Cade said, straightening up. Making her feel welcome. I'm sure Detective Thorne appreciates the gesture, but she has work to complete. As do you. The Sector 7 patrol reports should have been on my desk an hour ago. Dante's tone left no room for argument. Cade nodded stiffly and walked away, casting a confused glance back at Luna. She focused on her screen, very aware that Dante was still standing there. Detective Thorne, I need you to pull the archived files from the Vega Station incident. Bring them to my office when you're done. His voice was coldly professional. Then, so quietly that only she could hear with her sensitive Zentari hearing, he added, and stay away from Rivers. He's not what you need. He walked away before she could respond, leaving Luna flustered and confused. Was he jealous? It certainly seemed like it, but that was absurd. They barely knew each other, and tonight's dinner hadn't even happened yet. 1900 hours arrived too quickly. Luna had changed 3 times in her quarters, finally settling on a simple purple dress that complemented her natural skin tone without being too formal. When her door chimed at exactly 1900, her heart leaped into her throat. Dante stood in the corridor, and Luna's breath caught. He wore civilian clothes, dark pants and a fitted charcoal shirt that showed off his broad shoulders. His usually severe expression had softened slightly, and when he saw her, something warm flickered in his storm-gray eyes. You look beautiful, he said simply. Thank you. You look nice too. Luna grabbed her jacket, suddenly nervous. Where are we going? Somewhere we won't run into anyone from headquarters. He took her to a quiet restaurant on the station's diplomatic level, a place designed for discreet meetings. Over pasta from Earth and Zentari spiced vegetables, they talked. Really talked. Dante apologized for being harsh on her first day, explaining that he'd learned to maintain strict standards after losing officers to careless mistakes early in his career. Luna admitted that she found him intimidating but respected his dedication to the job. I meant what I said in that note, Dante told her over dessert, his gray eyes serious. I want to explore this connection between us. But we need to be careful. ISF has strict policies about relationships within the chain of command. Then maybe we shouldn't, Luna said, even though every part of her wanted to ignore common sense. Dante reached across the table and took her hand, his warm fingers wrapping around her purple ones. Or maybe we should be very, very discreet. That had been 5 days ago, and the tension between them had only grown stronger. They hadn't kissed, hadn't even been alone together since that dinner. But the attraction was becoming impossible to hide. On Friday evening, Captain Vale asked Luna to stay late to organize evidence for an upcoming trial. Most of headquarters cleared out by 1800, leaving the building quiet and nearly empty. Luna was in the evidence vault, standing on a step ladder to reach the top shelf, when she felt rather than heard someone enter behind her. You shouldn't be up there alone, Dante's voice said. Let me help. Luna turned on the ladder and found him standing right below her, close enough that if she stepped down, she would be pressed against him. I'm almost done. Just need these last few containers. Come down, he said, and there was something in his voice that made her obey. She descended carefully, and when her feet touched the ground, she was indeed pressed against Dante's solid chest. He steadied her with his hands on her waist, and neither of them moved away. We can't do this here, Luna whispered, even as her hands came to rest on his chest. She could feel his heart beating fast, matching her own. I know, Dante said, but he didn't let go. I've been trying to stay away from you all week. It's not working. People are starting to notice. The way you look at me. The way you sent Cade to that training facility right after he asked me out. He asked you out? Dante's hands tightened on her waist. When? Last Friday. You sent him to that remote facility for a week the very next day. That wasn't a coincidence, was it? A slight smile touched Dante's lips. Rivers needed additional tactical training. Purely professional decision. You're jealous, Luna said, surprised by how much she liked that idea. Completely, Dante admitted, one hand moving up to cup her face. His warm palm against her purple cheek sent shivers through her. I watched him flirt with you and wanted to throw him in the brig. I've never felt like this before, Luna. You've been driving me crazy since the moment you spilled those files at my feet. I thought you hated me that day, she said softly. I was trying to convince myself I wasn't attracted to you. It didn't work. His thumb brushed across her cheekbone. Tell me to stop. Tell me this is a bad idea, and I'll walk away right now. Luna knew she should say exactly that. She should push him away and maintain professional boundaries. Instead, she heard herself whisper, "Don't stop." Dante kissed her then, and it was nothing like Luna had imagined. It was intense and consuming, weeks of tension and restraint finally breaking free. His hands tangled in her hair while hers gripped his shoulders, trying to pull him closer even though there was no space left between them. They broke apart, breathing hard, and Dante rested his forehead against hers. We should talk about this, he said roughly. Figure out what we're doing. Later, Luna said, pulling him back down for another kiss. They didn't hear the footsteps in the corridor. Didn't notice the shadow passing by the vault window. Didn't see Officer Mitchell stopping to stare before quickly walking away with a shocked expression. By Monday morning, everyone knew. Luna arrived at headquarters to whispers and stares. People stopped talking when she walked by, then resumed in hushed tones as soon as she passed. Mira pulled her aside before she even reached her desk. Luna, there are rumors everywhere. People are saying they saw you and Commander Cross together in the evidence vault Friday night. Some are saying you're sleeping with him to get ahead. Others are saying he's taking advantage of his position. Mira looked genuinely worried. This is bad. Luna felt sick. This was exactly what she'd been afraid of. Who started the rumors? Officer Mitchell saw you two kissing. He told a few people, and it spread from there. I'm sorry, Luna. I know this isn't fair. Luna spent the morning trying to work while feeling everyone's eyes on her. Some colleagues were sympathetic, but others gave her looks of judgment or disdain. Cade Rivers wouldn't even make eye contact with her. Dante had been in meetings all morning. At noon, he summoned her to his office. Luna walked through headquarters with her head high, ignoring the whispers. Dante was standing by his window when she entered, his posture tense. He turned as she closed the door, and she saw the frustration on his face. I've been fielding questions all morning, he said without preamble. The rumors are getting out of control. Captain Vale called me asking if they're true. What did you tell him? Luna asked, trying to keep her voice steady. The truth, that I have feelings for you, and yes, we kissed. But I also made it clear that it happened after hours and has had no impact on your job performance or my professional judgment. Dante moved closer to her. Luna, I'm sorry. I should have been more careful. This isn't just your fault. I kissed you back. Luna wrapped her arms around herself. But maybe we should stop this before it gets worse. My reputation is already damaged. Yours will be too if we continue. Is that what you want? Dante asked quietly. To stop? Luna looked at him, at this strong, controlled man who had let his guard down for her. No. But I don't see how we can keep doing this without it destroying both our careers. Dante was quiet for a long moment. Then he seemed to come to a decision. Then we do this the right way. No more hiding. No more sneaking around. If we're going to be together, we do it openly and deal with whatever consequences come. Dante, that's crazy. You could lose your position. And I'll find another position, he said simply. But I'm not going to let fear stop me from being with you. Luna stared at Dante, her purple skin paling slightly with shock. You can't be serious. You've worked your entire career to get to this position. And none of it means anything if I can't be with the person I care about. Dante crossed the room and took both her hands in his. Luna, I've spent my entire life following rules, maintaining perfect control, never letting anyone get close. Then you crashed into my world, literally, and everything changed. We've only known each other for a week, Luna protested weakly. I know. It's insane. It's illogical. A smile tugged at his lips. But when have feelings ever been logical? I'm falling for you, Luna Thorne. Fast and hard, and I don't want to stop it. Luna felt tears prick her eyes. What if Captain Vale doesn't give us a choice? What if he orders us to end this or face disciplinary action? Then we request reassignment to separate divisions. We follow proper protocols and make this official. Dante cupped her face with both hands. I'm not giving you up without a fight. Before Luna could respond, Dante's communicator chirped. He glanced at it and his jaw tightened. Captain Vale wants to see us both. Now. They walked to the captain's office together, and Luna felt every pair of eyes following them. Instead of dropping her hand or putting distance between them, Dante reached out and interlaced his fingers with hers. The gesture was deliberate, public, and sent a clear message. Captain Vale was a stern man in his 50s, with gray hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. He gestured for them to sit, then leaned back in his chair, studying them both. I've been hearing some interesting things this morning, he began. Care to explain? Yes, sir, Dante said without hesitation. Detective Thorne and I have developed romantic feelings for each other. We're aware this violates fraternization protocols given our positions in the chain of command. We're here to formally report the relationship and request guidance on how to proceed appropriately. Vale's eyebrows rose. You're not going to deny it or try to hide it? No, sir. We made that mistake once already. It only made things worse. And you, Detective Thorne? Vale turned to Luna. Are you aware that some people are saying you're using this relationship to advance your career? That you're receiving preferential treatment? Luna straightened her spine. I'm aware of the rumors, sir. They're not true. Commander Cross has shown me no favoritism. In fact, he's been harder on me than on any other officer in my division. As for advancing my career, I've been here 1 week. I've received no promotions, special assignments, or any other benefits from this relationship. What about the personal benefits? Vale asked pointedly. Commander Cross is not just your superior officer, he's the second highest ranking officer on this station. The power imbalance is significant. With respect, sir, I'm a decorated officer with 5 years of experience and multiple commendations, Luna said firmly. I'm not some naive cadet who can be taken advantage of. I entered this relationship with my eyes open, knowing the risks. Vale was silent for a long moment, then sighed. I appreciate your honesty. However, this puts me in a difficult position. ISF regulations are clear about relationships within the chain of command. I have 3 options: I can order you to end the relationship, I can transfer one of you to another station, or I can reassign one of you to a different division where you won't have a direct reporting relationship. We request the third option, sir, Dante said immediately. Detective Thorne is an excellent investigator. She shouldn't have to leave Nexus Station because of this. I'm willing to transfer to station security or administrative operations. You'd give up commanding the detective division? Vale looked surprised. Without hesitation, sir. Vale turned to Luna. And you're okay with this? You'd let him sacrifice his position for you? Luna looked at Dante, seeing the determination in his eyes, the certainty. She'd spent her whole life being careful, following rules, avoiding risks. But some things were worth risking everything for.